Hi there, my name is Seun Salami. Thank you very much for joining me on another episode of Love Code on YouTube. Thank you for always watching my videos. Thank you very much. If today is the first time that you're watching any of my videos, I would like to welcome you. Let's start out here by getting you to subscribe. Just consider that, so that you can know when I have new videos out. YouTube would send you a notification if you enable your notifications. So you're very much welcome. On this platform, I love to talk about love, relationships, marriage, and that kind of good stuff. Okay, so you're welcome on this journey. So today I want to talk about marriage myths. Marriage myths, MYTHS. These are misconceptions about marriage, and I want to start to talk about that and just to express some of them. These are things that people really think that are accurate about marriage, based on what they've seen on popular mainstream media, on the things that they've read in novels, how they've grown up and things like that. So they think that these things are accurate, but they're not always true. So we want to start to look at that today. Now, the very first one that I want to talk about is this idea that marriage is supposed to make us happy. This is very popular. This is, something that is, maybe it came out of the American Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, as it were, right? I don't know where it came from, but people have this idea that once they find a partner, that partner is responsible for their happiness. I have good news for you. No human being is responsible for your happiness. God did not make you. God did not put you in marriage so that you can be happy. That's not the idea, right? It's a little bit deeper than that. Marriage is supposed to make us holy. Marriage is supposed to make us holy. And why do we say this? Is because marriage is a character school. Marriage is a character school. Your happiness in marriage should be a byproduct of your holiness. It's not because you're not going to be happy at all. That's not what we're saying. But that concept of happiness is supposed to be a byproduct of the fact that you have grown in character. Like, marriage has helped you to be a better person. And we are speaking about Christian marriages here. Okay, we're not talking about the general notion of marriage. All right, we're talking about what a Christian marriage should look like. It is supposed to make us holy. It's supposed to make us more like Jesus Christ. Because essentially, what marriage is this idea of mirroring the relationship that Jesus Christ has with the church. That is what marriage is supposed to be like. That's why the Bible speaks about, love your husbands, love your wife as Christ loves the church. So it's supposed to be something that shows off the love that Jesus has for the church. And if you want to be honest, you know that we are not there yet. No matter how good of a husband you are, the Bible says that Jesus laid down his life. What manner of love, as a man for his friends, that a man would lay down his life for his friends. That's what Jesus did for us. So if the Bible says we should love our wives the way Christ loves the church, the Bible is essentially saying we should be ready to lay down our lives for our wives. Okay, well, we have some ways to go if you want to get to that point. Okay, so marriage is one of those institutions that challenges you, that tests you. I dare not even say one of those institutions. It's probably the only thing on the face of the earth that God has instituted to make that happen, to show you your flaws, to show you, I like to say that marriage is a pressure cooker. It's going to bring out things inside you that you didn't even know that existed there. Okay, and Genesis 2 verse 24, the Bible says, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they two shall become one flesh. Shall be joined to his wife. So there's a process there. There's a joining. There's first a leaving and then a cleaving. So it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight. So that's what marriage is supposed to do. Okay, God can use anything else to make us happy. So it's not just marriage is not the only way that God can make us happy. And I like to say that if I put $1 million into your account right now, you will be happy. I mean, you will start to sweat. So there's a kind of happiness that will come upon you. That is very different from normal. So there's so many other things, and the fact that there's no marriage in heaven is very telling. So does it mean we're not going to be happy in heaven? Right? So that means that that idea of marriage being the source of happiness is not really correct. Okay, so it's a bit more than that. So marriage is about making us holy. It's about getting us to conform into the image of Jesus Christ. That's what marriage is all about. If you are married or you have ever, lived with another human being, not even in a married situation, maybe just a roommate or something, you know how difficult it is, to kind of, put yourself in a place where you have to surrender your rights, as it were, and certain privileges just to accommodate this other person. How much more a lifetime commitment like marriage. So it's what it's all about, is that marriage is supposed to make us holy, not just to make us happy. And marriage is not supposed to help you change your spouse. Marriage is supposed to help you change yourself. So don't get into marriage thinking that I'm going to change this person, right? It's about you changing yourself. Okay, which leads me now to the second misconception about marriage here, which is the fact that many people think that marriage is about finding a soulmate. Marriage is about finding a soulmate. That is a misconception. That's not a biblical idea. Okay, it's not a biblical idea. This idea of finding a soulmate did not come from the Bible. In fact, it came from a Greek philosopher called Plato. That's where this idea came from, who said that a perfect human being was tragically split into two, and that we all have to search for that missing half in order to be complete. This is where this whole idea generated from. It's not a biblical idea, and from time to time people say, oh, but Pastor Seun, the Bible says that God put Adam to sleep and he took away a rib. But yeah, that's how God chose to start the process of making another human being. So that is how God chose to make the woman. But it doesn't say anywhere that the rib was missing. The rib was never missing. Okay, so you don't have a missing rib. You're not looking for a missing rib. In fact, what is a biblical idea for this is the idea of a soul mate. S-O-L-E, one mate. That's what the Bible speaks about. The man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. Wives should honor their own husband. So that's what the Bible speaks about. It speaks about having one partner, one soul, singular mate, not a soul mate, as in S-O-U-L, which is what this idea that Plato brought on into the earth, which has kind of taken hold because of mainstream media, because of books, all of the things that we have read, all of the things that we have seen, and people just believe that, I have to find my soulmate. And then they think that, after, so even people who are married, after some time, because they're having challenges in their marriage, they start to feel like, oh, maybe I didn't marry my soulmate. Maybe this is not my soulmate. Maybe my soulmate is outside. Listen to me. If you are married, I say this all the time, once you get married, whatever idea you have about the person that you married being right or wrong is all over. All right, the person that you've married has become right for you, so you have to make that work. There's no soulmate somewhere else, that is still out there, and then people fall in love, and then they start to drift from their marriage and feel like, maybe this is the one that I should have married. No. That's a demonic idea from Hades. Okay, it's not a godly idea. It's not a biblical principle. So we need to bear this in mind, that marriage is about having one singular soulmate, one partner who commits to you for the rest of your life to live out biblical love, as found in John chapter 15 and verse 13. This is what is biblically accurate and correct about marriage. And this is a love that is based on sacrifice and commitment. That one person decides to be committed to you, to sacrifice for you, to join themselves to you, and to go on this journey of life together. This is the biblical concept of marriage. So this is a soulmate that would love you out of reverence for God, and not just because you are all that. They might love you. They might love some of your qualities. They might love to be with you. They might love you. They might have feelings for you as well, and not just in the commitment sense of love. But that has to be the basis of it. That's being with you out of reverence for love, for God, out of reverence for God and love for you. That's what you want. That's what you want, because if it's not based on that, it is a shaky ground. That song we sing, all other ground is sinking sand. If it's not based on that, it's a very shaky ground, because at any point in time, that can fall away. So you want to be careful about that. Now, the other one that I want to talk about is that marriage is a marathon. Marriage is not a sprint. Marriage is a marathon. Marriage is not a sprint. And the reason why we say this is because the skill set that you need to run a marathon is different from the skill set that you need to run a sprint. The way I like to illustrate this is with runners. People who run the 100 meters, for instance, they are always so excited at the start of their race. They are always so pumped up. They are all over the place. I mean, they are showboating. They are doing this and doing that. As the cameras come, they are all over. Like it's like the hormones are pumping. Like they are excited about the thing. And they just want to go for it because it's a quick race. It's It's just something. It's just like going on the first date. That excitement is there. Everything is, you're so, but that's not what you need to run a marathon. If you look at the guys who are running the marathon, when they show them, they are a little bit more calm. They are more calculated. They are more focused, if you like, right? They are not, they might wave at the cameras and all of that, but they are not as much of celebrities. You know what I'm talking about? They are not the ones that everybody is, they are not really celebrities. They are more, focused because they know that this race takes more than just jumping around. This thing needs an endurance. So they are focused. They are looking ahead, and that's what you want for marriage. Marriage is something that requires endurance. It's something that requires. And many of us are excited about the idea of being married, about the idea of being in love, of sharing our lives with another person, and that's okay. But you need more than that for marriage. Marriage is a long distance race, and there's a story that I like to share, which is from my high school days. And this is something that we used to do called Ikoyi Run. And this is a marathon that we used to run. And during the term, you will run several of those races, and then your best time would be put together to determine the people that will qualify for the finals to represent your house. Okay, and I was really, really fascinated by the idea of running in Ikoyi Run. I was fascinated by it, but I've never been built for athletics. I've never been one. I love the idea of playing soccer. I love the idea of running and all of that, but I've never really had it. I can teach it. I can coach it because I love it. I study it. I watch things like that, and I'm quite interested in it. But I don't have the physical build for it. I've never been that way. But this time I just decided, what, I want to really, really take part in this Ikoyi Run. So this is what I'm going to do, because I tried several of the practice races, and I wasn't really doing too well. So I hooked up with a friend of mine who was much better at doing this, and he was always up there with the guys who came in the top 10. So I talked to him and I said, what, I need you to hold my hand in this race and help me to get far in this race, because I want to try to beat my best time, and do very well in this race. Maybe I can even qualify, And he laughed at me a bit, and then he said, okay, you might hold me down, but I'll do my best, and if I can't take it anymore, then I'll let you go. So he made me eat chewing gum and get glucose, and told me all the things that he tried to do, how long you should sleep, all of those things, So the day of the race came and we started out, and because he was so good, and I was holding on to him, and he really, really helped me. We went really, really fine to the race, and at a point I began to hold him back now, and then he had to let me go. So this is where it got interesting, because at that point I had already left a lot of my friends behind, all of the guys that we used to click together, I had left them behind. But so he left me, and then he went ahead and went up there and joined the top group and all of that. But by the time I got to the end of the race, I didn't even find out my result, because this is what happened when I got to the end of the race. I literally threw up. And I'm sorry to spoil your lunch if you are eating, but I threw up right there on the table where they were recording the names. As you come in and you will record your name. I threw up there. Everybody ran away. It was a disaster because I was completely exhausted. I was completely gone. Now, this my friend who helped me in the race, he had gone back to the hostel. He had his bath, and he had come back. I mean, just look at the time it took me to finish the race, But here's the point that story always reminds me of, is that I had something called excitement, but my friend had endurance. That's why he was the one who did better in the race, because he had endurance, and he had done this over and over again. He had trained himself. When there was no race, he had trained himself by exercising, by going to the gym, by preparing. This is why people make this noise that you cannot over prepare for marriage. I mean, there are some people who get tired of watching marriage videos or reading about marriage. Is this only marriage we're going to be watching? Please, let's look for something else. And then they want to get into entertainment and watch. That's okay, but that's not what you need. You are not building yourself. You are not getting ready. It's just like you going to the gym and getting ready to run a marathon. It's very different. So you have to do that. That's the work that you need to do. Okay, so which is the point that we're making here, that you have to help yourself prepare for this thing that is called marriage. Okay, so it is very important. The skill set that you need for a marathon is very different from the one you need for a sprint. Don't just be excited about the idea of being married. You know, make sure you are actually preparing yourself. You are reading books, you're going to seminars, you're doing all of that. Okay, that would be very helpful to you. Yeah, so I'm going to stop it here today because of time. I don't want the videos to be too long, so just because of time, I'll stop it here for today. But I hope this was a blessing to you. If you liked it, just make sure you share it with someone. And then before you go, just like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, and turn on your notifications so that you know when I have a new video out. I usually have new episodes of Love Code on YouTube on Sundays at 6 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time. That's when I have new videos out on the channel. Until I see you again next week, God bless you.